Incidentally, you're going to be speaking today.
I'll be introducing the speakers. I'm not speaking today.
Are you nervous?
I'm always nervous.
What is it about being nervous? Is it normal to be nervous? On this big occasion especially?
I don't know. Well, I've been told, and I hold on to this because it helps me deal with my nerves. Someone said to me, the day you stop being nervous, then it's time for you to change your job.
To me, this is the biggest job I've ever
you seem
covered.
very, very comfortable with your equipment.
What have you done in the past?
Had babies. Raising children is a profession. It's one of the hardest jobs ever.
You're serious?
Yeah. For me, it has been. Because I always say that parenting doesn't come with a manual. And yet you're expected to do an excellent job with it.
Before you go back to your duty, is it possible to just exhibit what you're wearing for us today?
And why would you like that exhibited?
It is beautiful. Expensive?
What does that mean?
Expensive,
What is
money.
expensive? How do you quantify? How do you measure that? I think it's a very subjective term.
What do you think is going to happen today?
I'm not 100% sure because we're actually the Toastmasters for the event. So what we hope is that we'll remember what we have to say.
I'm here to celebrate the award that's been given to the governor. I think he thoroughly deserves it. He's done an absolutely outstanding job in Nigeria. If you look at Nigeria for maybe 5 years ago, it was one of the most volatile macroeconomic environments. Now it's becoming one of the most stable. That's tremendous for Nigeria. It's tremendous for both local and foreign investment. So I think he has done an outstanding job alongside many of the other reforming ministers in the cabinet of President Obasanjo.
You really know him very well, don't you?
I think that I would hope. I'm pleased that to count him as somebody I can talk to, yes.
How will you describe his feelings today?
His feelings today? I think he will be very pleased. I think he will feel that it's not only an accolade for himself, but probably an accolade for Nigeria and the changing Nigeria, and a recognition in the international community of what has been achieved over the past 2 or 3 years. We all know there are tremendous challenges ahead, but a great deal has been achieved already.
How do you think this is going to affect investment in Nigeria?
Well, I would hope I think that Nigeria is becoming recognized more and more as a place, a stable environment in which investment can be made, which is solid. There is a changing perception. It has taken time, but the international community is coming around to it. So a lot of work still needs to be done, but I think that we are perhaps just starting to see a corner being turned, and that is good.
Thank you very much. Hello, Mr. Olomo.
How are you, sir?
How are you today?
I'm fine. Morning, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you very much. It's good to see you here, sir.
Good to see you too.
What is your involvement here today?
I'm one of the Toastmasters for this event. I look forward to it.
And what do you expect to happen here today?
I expect that we're going to have a very good time. We have distinguished people in the house from Nigeria, from America, and we're honoring somebody with an award, and I know it's going to be.
It is a great thing for Nigeria, isn't it?
It's a great thing for Nigeria. We are not only celebrating success, but we're also celebrating excellence. So I think it's a good thing. It's always good to celebrate excellence.
Baroness Choka, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome to this very prestigious occasion. This morning, I would like to first of all introduce to you Carla West, who has been a Toastmaster for the last 6 years. Can I ask you again to put our hands together as we welcome to the stage our second Toastmaster for today, Dayo Olomo.
Thank you very much, Tandy, for those kind introduction. His Excellency, Dr. Christopher Kolade.
I take the opportunity of being here to also welcome and recognize Your Excellencies, Lady Choka, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it has fallen to my lot to welcome you here today by giving what has been glorified in the title of a welcome address. And I think we're all glad to be here today in order to celebrate not just an individual, but someone who is fast becoming an icon, somebody who represents more than just himself, Professor Charles Soludo. I want to start by saying a word of appreciation to the banker for doing something which the effects of which they probably themselves do not yet know. Nigeria is a country that has all kinds of features that you would say naturally qualify and entitle her to a prominent place in the Committee of Nations. And most of these resources I'm talking about, in fact I would say all of them, are God-given resources. God-given resources, both material and otherwise, but especially human resources. And over the years, those of us who are old enough can remember that we have had a penchant for inviting foreign expertise to address problems that we ourselves could identify and to take care of those ills that we ourselves could. The importance of what we're doing today, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, is that we are recognizing one of the builders of institutions in Nigeria. Institutions that will take care of many things that we don't even know yet, but institutions that will get us away from where we used to be and help us to develop not just the expertise, but also the confidence. We refer these days to the President's economic team. The danger always in referring to the economic team is that we look at an economic team as some device that has been put together and that has really no human or emotional dimensions. And I want to say that I know from personal experience that Professor Charles Soludo, as a member of the team, and the other members of the team, have had to go through harrowing experiences at the emotional level, at the personal level, as they struggled to build this institution in a situation that was not used to these things. And I want personally, and also on behalf of the President and people of Nigeria, to congratulate Charles Soludo on being this year's winner of Central Banker of the Year.
Chairman of Bank TV.
Yes, it is.
I can't believe I'm talking to you.
Well, it's a pleasure speaking to you too.
It's a great honor for me. I've always thought banking world is boring. What's your view now?
Well,
my view has changed, but what is your one?
Well, will I say banking is boring? Not really, because I mean, when you really look into the financial market, the banking institutions, they're making quite a lot of money. And for investors, commercial people who are interested in business, really, this is the most important thing. You know, everything you labored for, there is a profit. And the same thing in the banking institution, from 80 plus to 25, that's the best thing that can happen to Nigeria. So I don't think it will be any boring as ever before. This is really a new challenge for Nigeria and the Nigerian community at large.
How do you feel about the speech here today?
The professor has said it all. Nigeria is a new emerging country in terms of financial aspect, and the banking have shown that they're much more stronger now than ever before. And I guess for the international community really is to look into Nigeria as a potential investment destination. And there's no doubt about it. All the presentation, he's broken everything down really that anybody needs to know about Nigeria.
In the professor's speech, he mentioned that you, the media, should help at least let the people know what is going on about the banking system in Nigeria, because we have changed. It's a great achievement for us today. What is going to be your headline tomorrow? What are you going to be talking about this occasion?
I think I'll use the phrase he used. Nigeria, the new destination for making money. That is will be. In fact, it won't even be tomorrow. Most likely we started from tonight. They say Nigeria has shown that they are open. Nigeria are welcoming. We have the potential. We have the thing to make you money. This is the new place to be. Highest return on your investment. And as he rightly said as well, anybody that enters Nigeria will not like to leave. And that's what we want to achieve.
Will today's event or the achievement, the award, will it change international investors' perspective about Nigeria now?
I hope it does, because that's the aim of it. I hope it does. But the reality is, if they really want to see what Nigeria is doing, all they have to do is look inward into Nigeria. If they want to know what Nigeria is doing as well, let them read the magazine, let them see it. He didn't buy the award. It was given to him out of the whole banks governors in the world. It meant the guy is doing something, and we are happy because he's doing something. We're happy. I'm always very loud to say, look, I'm a Nigerian. I run a media station that covers all over Western Europe. We run Ben Television that covers everywhere. But the most important thing is, here are guys being selected by the Western media saying, thank you very much. You guys are doing something brilliant in your country.
It is good we have Ben TV to be the first African satellite television to be broadcasting positive news, positive image of Nigeria and the whole Africa.
Definitely true. I mean, we have come a long way, but the road is still out there for us to keep treading, keep trying to represent our community, represent the African continent, represent Nigeria more so, because we have a lot of Nigerians who have Nigerian interest in the company. But we'll continue to strive, we'll continue to try, we'll continue to project a positive image. But the fact as well is, we cannot do it without that information being given to us. So we want that information being given to us at Ben Television so that we will represent our continents.
And thank you very much for talking to me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I have Mr. Christian here, the organizer of this event. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
It is a pride thing for you to organize this big award today.
Well, it's an excellent opportunity that has presented itself, and we're very proud that The Banker, which is a global publication that has existed for over 80 years and rates countries on an annual basis, thought that in the last year that no central banker in the world has been able to do what Professor Charles Soludo, our own central banker, has done. And so in the sense that he is the most distinctive central banker in the world last year, they nominated him as the award winner for the Global Central Banker of the Year 2006. So we're happy to be here.
Dr. John Brown.
Your Excellencies, Baroness Choker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I feel very highly honoured indeed to be standing here today to be addressing such an august gathering and at such an important event. But before starting my address, I'd like to take the opportunity of offering my own personal heartiest congratulations to Professor Soludo on this wonderful award. As an adopted Nigerian, and I'm sure His Excellency would not dispute that, I'm very, very proud of what has been achieved so far in the implementation of the reform agenda, and of the crucial role which Professor Soludo is playing in that process. Although his name will always be associated with the reform of the banking sector in Nigeria, the implications of the banking reforms go much, much, much deeper than the basic statistic of reducing 89 banks to 20. I remember well, on the 1st of March last year, in this very venue, in this very room, there was a conference on Nigeria's financial system. And I listened to Professor Soludo's address. That day I was in the audience and he mistook me for Professor Alos, who is the Vice Chancellor of Lagos Business School. And again, somebody else made the same comment this morning. But I'm no professor. In that address, Professor Soludo described the banking and financial system which he met when he took office. The features of which were, and I quote from his speech, at least I hope I'm not misquoting him, but there was a considerable amount of insolvency. There were 89 banks, as I've mentioned, and many were undercapitalized. There were some people who owned banks just to have a bank as a part of their portfolio of personal possessions. There was inadequate screening of bank management. There was escalating fraud. There were foreign exchange irregularities. And there was a massive bad debt problem. Again, there was poor governance and, of course, rampant insider abuse. There was perhaps an over-reliance on the public sector deposits, and worst of all, there was a collapsing interbank market. And of course, this resulted in things like high interest rates. And all these features were very, very detrimental to Nigeria's economic development. For long, the IMF, amongst other respected international financial institutions, had voiced their concern about the integrity of Nigeria's banking system. But in the past, it could be argued that the Central Bank of Nigeria took a line of least resistance, managing the crisis rather than resolving it.
The Baroness Chalker of Wallasey.
It's not my position to welcome all of you, but may I say how delighted I am to see this room filled for this rather special occasion. Governor, High Commissioner, Chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, Senator George Okonya, eminent ladies and gentlemen, and I think I should say all protocols observed. Let me add my thanks to the banker and to Business in Africa events for organising what for me is one of the most worthwhile honouring of anybody that I have done in my many years in public life. Charles Soludo, Professor Charles Soludo, the Governor of the Bank, not only is he eminent, not only is he wise, but he's also a very good friend. So that's another special reason for being delighted to be here. And you've heard of the very prominent role he's been playing in Nigeria's reform programme. He has actually righted many of the wrongs in Nigeria together with other members of the economic team. He's brought proper economic governance and stability after so many, many years without it. Charles Soludo's efforts have been tireless, and that is why he is a very worthy recipient of this prestigious award from the banker, the leading voice in the international banking community.
I've been in this business for a very, very long time. You've got the experience, you've got the t-shirt. How will you report this occasion?
Well, I would just say in very, very, in just one language, succinctly, this is the height of success for Nigeria. This is where we ought to be, recognized by a world body. It can never be better than this. It could never possibly be better than it has been to be given that recognition, to win an award at this global level. It is not in contention. There's nobody contesting it with us. It was given to us not just on a platter of gold, but by dint of hard work and on merit. And I think Nigeria deserves it. We work so hard, every Nigerian puts in so much. But at the end of the day, it seems as if it just fritters away. But as a broadcaster, I see it as something that will propel us to greater heights. It will bring us to that level which even Britain has been striving to achieve. Even America wants this award. Nigeria has won it.
The reason we are here today is to hand over the award given by the banker to Professor Soludo. I think indicative of the increasing confidence has been the fact that such a substantial amount of foreign capital came into the banking sector as a result of restructuring. Banks and the providers of capital to banks are one of the best judges of risk. For them to be doing that is indicative of rising confidence. Something that has only been alluded to, but I will be more blunt as a journalist. Professor Soludo saw off many of the entrenched interests that make change so difficult in Nigeria. I know from interviews and discussions with him that he faced a number of personal threats, warnings, dire warnings from bankers in the industry, and he held to his word and delivered the restructuring. I cannot emphasize enough as an external analyst how important it is that the corruption issue, the cronyism, entrenched interests issue is dealt with, and this is again a huge step forward. He has achieved the restructuring at low cost, estimated 1% of GDP. It is claimed to be a world record. I have not been able to verify that, and I think that we will see in time what the full cost is. But again, it is an achievement that it was done at such low cost. Lastly, he has taken a major leap towards establishing Nigeria at last as a regional financial powerhouse. I'm South African, and South Africa's banks are by still some considerable margin the biggest on the continent. Professor Soludo believes that it will be a matter of time before Nigerian banks take over.
Ladies and gentlemen, Baroness Chalker.
James Eads, Africa editor for The Banker magazine.
How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you getting on?
I'm very well. It's good to have you here.
No, it's very nice to be at this occasion to honour the governor. Much deserved.
Outstanding speech you made out there. It was good, wasn't it?
Yes, I think the governor deserves all the praise he has received today. I think the achievements speak for themselves. To restructure the banking sector in 18 months is an incredible achievement anywhere in the world. And I think that Nigeria has its own unique challenges, and the fact that he overcame them, again, just adds to the significance of the achievement. In 2003, and we were in Abuja, and he was chief economic advisor to the president. And while we were sitting there, the lights went off. It was a power failure, as regularly happens. And I always remember the way he didn't bat an eyelid. He just carried on. He didn't even say anything, and there we were sitting as it got darker and darker. And I think really what he was trying to convey is he was so confident about the direction that the reform was going that a small hiccup like that would soon become something of the past.
How will you sum up his achievements since you've met him and up to date?
Well, I think the achievements are really the culmination of a long period of reform progress which has been initiated and masterminded by Professor Soludo. As I said, he is the main author of the needs document, main architect of that, and the main proponent behind that. His move to the central bank was hugely significant because he quickly initiated the increase in the minimum capital requirements, which has caused such a far-reaching change to the industry in terms of the restructuring and getting 89 banks down to 25. But more than that, I think what's often overlooked is the fact that he's also been building on the supervisory side. There's been new regulations in terms of reserves management. There have been a lot of other policy interventions which have meant that it's not just about the restructuring. There are a lot of other things that he's doing very, very positively for the banking sector.
How will his achievement today help Nigerian investors?
I don't think so much. It's obviously good for him to win the award because I think that it goes out to the international audience that the banker has about the achievement. But I think it's what he's done is he's fundamentally changed a very, very important part of the economy, a mechanism within the economy, which is the banking sector. More than other sectors in the economy, if the banking system doesn't work, it can't do its job, and the economy can't work and grow and develop. So I think what he's done is more than just sort out one sector. He has created a banking system that can fundamentally assist the economy growing and developing.
And what's your headline going to be?
I think we've been writing about it for a long time. I mean, again, it's what is my headline going to be? It's again, like I say, it's richly deserved award for something that really has been a long time coming. And I think that what foreign investors look for is they look for not so much rhetoric and promises, they look for delivery. And when the reform team was assembled back in 2003, it looked good and there were good people there, but there was no delivery yet. And so it's taken some time for them to make good their promises. And I think that's starting to happen now. You've seen it with the finance ministry and you've seen it in other areas. But what Professor Soludo has done is he has now actually got a track record of success and change, and I think that's fundamental.
Thank you very much for talking to me.
I'm very pleased. It gives me great pleasure to be here on behalf of the Banker, the global financial magazine of the Financial Times Group. It's a wonderful occasion, and I doubt that I can add anything to what Baroness Chalker and James has added. But I'd like to say the rapid consolidation of Nigeria's banking sector is an extraordinary story. It's not only for Nigeria, but it's for Africa, and it's for countries throughout the world. Professor Soludo's great achievement deserves strong recognition, and I'm very grateful to be here on behalf of the Banker to reflect that recognition. We at the Banker, as we have done for the past 80 years, since January 1926. I might add that I wasn't editor-in-chief in 1926. We do believe in strong banks, and as James has outlined, there are core things. We believe in strong banks and in strong banking sectors. And in fact, in my personal view, we believe they provide the real strength behind economies and economic growth. I won't go on, but as editor-in-chief of the Banker, you do see a few things. And I can remember a decade ago being in Brazil, being told how Brazil was on imminent collapse. And it was the strength of their banks and the central bank that kept them at bay. And what we're seeing in China, and I was there just recently and wrote an account issue, the strength of what the central bank is doing there to reform the banking sector is giving great strength to developments in China. And I think it's very easy and very clear to say you don't have a strong economy without a strong banking sector. So I'm very pleased to present Professor Soludo with our Global Central Banker of the Year 2006. His very important contribution to the restructuring of the Nigerian banking sector and the Nigerian economy. As the speakers have said, the achievements are there, and we are very pleased at the Banker to give the global recognition that I believe, and we at the Banker believe, Professor Soludo is due. So without further ado, I'd like to present Professor Soludo with our awards, which, if I can hand you that.
I'm not too sure what is my profession now, but I have been a banker for 35 years of my life, and currently I'm a student at the London School of Economics, studying development, anthropology and development.
Why are you going to studying again after being a banker for 35 years?
Well, the point is that I've got to this stage in my life where I thought that I should put something back into the Nigerian economy and Nigeria's development. I'm going to be 60 in 5 months' time, and I thought the time has come for me to try to make a contribution of my own life and what I know to the development of Nigeria. And I thought the first thing to do is to go back to college, to sharpen my brain.
And what were your main interests about this award? What really interests you today?
Well, Charles is my friend in the first instance, and I have been watching his progress in the last 1.5 or 2 years. He's been governor, and even before he was made governor, when he was the chief economic advisor to the president, I admire him greatly for his confidence and his ability. And I have been watching his progress in the last 1.5 years, and I'm very, very impressed by what has been achieved.
The award you received today is good news for Nigerians, isn't it? Because it will entice investment in Nigeria.
It's more than the good news for Nigeria, but it's good news for the future of Nigeria, and the future of the economy and the development of Nigeria. Because without a stable and strong central bank, you cannot control banks, and if you don't have strong banks, then you have a problem with the economy. Banks support the economy, so it is very important for you to have a very strong banking system.
The ambassador, after listening to those wonderful speeches, I think there is nothing to add. The only thing to say is to God be the glory. And I want to say right away that I wish to dedicate the award to His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of Nigeria. And we also dedicate this to all Nigerians who are dissatisfied with the state of affairs, who were dissatisfied with 40 years of not really realizing our potentials. Let me also use this opportunity to thank all the key stakeholders who, from the very beginning, stood with us. The Nigerian Labour Congress, the Manufacturers Association, the Chambers of Commerce, even the Senior Staff Association of Banks. And in particular, let me also mention the members of the National Assembly, the leadership and members of the National Assembly, the legislative arm, the press, the Nigerian Economic Society, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, many other organized groups. Next, I want to thank very particularly my colleagues at the Central Bank of Nigeria, the members of the Board of Directors, the Deputy Governors, I think there are 3 of them here, the directors, departmental directors, and indeed all staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And I must also thank the bankers themselves. And I can see many CEOs of banks and chairmen of the new banks here present. To the critics and those who were skeptical, and those who predicted doom, and those who thought it was impossible and so on, I think Baroness Choka referred to the skepticism of the IMF and so on. We don't want to say that they were wrong. We can only say that they have increased their understanding today. And finally, I must thank my family, my wife and children. Unfortunately, my wife is not able to join me here today, but I think she has borne incredibly much of the pressure. When you come home sometimes with 1 or 2 letters of threat, I'm predicting by next tomorrow you would have been dead, and so you can imagine how your wife will feel. And I want to say and join the Honorable High Commissioner, Baroness Choka, and the other speakers in saying that this award is a celebration of a new Nigeria that is emerging. Think about it. By about 1999, 98, Nigeria was a pariah state. Everything Nigeria, coming out of Nigeria and off Nigeria was in the negative. Resources largely mismanaged. Corruption was a word, and we were totally pariah state. And today, here we are, celebrating and saying something. The crux of the economy of Nigeria being celebrated today globally. It says quite a lot. That this is not about us. It's a celebration of a new Nigeria that is emerging. The process of consolidation, the process of building a new banking structure, the process of building the Nigerian financial system as being the hub of the financial system in Africa. And the target, the vision was that as of June 2004, none of Nigerian banks was in the list of the top 1,000 banks. And our vision that in the next 10 years, there must be at least one or more banks in the top 50 to 100. This is only a first step in the process. I can tell you that we are not celebrating personally. While we acknowledge it's a major first step, we're not celebrating. We'll probably celebrate the day when Nigeria could clearly be described as the financial hub of Africa. So, the African editorial banker, never mind, I saw the way you described it in the 80th edition of the Banker magazine, where you warned South Africa to beware that Nigerians are coming. We wouldn't also be celebrating until we also see the Nigerian banking system be able to play the kind of catalytic role in moving the Nigerian economy to take its rightful place. We realize that in terms of credit to the economy as a percentage of GDP, it's barely about 20%. Whereas in the rest of the world, England and so on, it's well over 100% of GDP. You can see why we are not yet celebrating. Nigerian economy today has one of the highest rates of return to investment of anywhere else in the world. We're refocusing the central bank to get back to the basics of its function, core function as a monetary authority. And that we're trying to grapple and get a firm handle on in terms of our liquidity management and moving on to inflation targeting and so on and so forth. That's quite a huge agenda of reforms for us. Our banking and financial system is changing, has changed, and will continue to go on a trajectory that we have not known before. And we're ready to do business, we're ready to play by the international rules, and we are already doing so. And we're only asking for stronger and much more constructive partnership with the rest of the world to ensure greater understanding and partnership. And I am delighted, when I saw the BBC here and other media organizations, and since this is the Banker and Financial Times and so on are here, we hope that you will help us to carry this message to the rest of the world.
Good afternoon, sir. May I congratulate you on the award, sir?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Did it go down with the launch, sir?
Very well, excellently.
It must have been a long road for you, sir.
It is very rewarding. Like I said during my speech, this is for Nigeria. This is a celebration of Nigeria. This is not me. It's a celebration of the president and his reforms. It's a celebration of the determination of all Nigerians to see a new country that can take its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. That is what it is all about. I mean, giving it to me is simply a symbolism. But basically, like I said, it's a celebration of Nigeria.
If the president was here, what do you think he will have said to you today?
Well, I think Mr. President is highly delighted. He's delighted that this award is coming to applaud one of the principal reforms of his administration. And in fact, if you like, the reform, because if you don't have a very strong banking and financial system, there is no economy. And this is at the heart of the economy. And that is why I believe Mr. President is very pleased. Even though he's not here, he is very pleased about the outcomes of the reforms. And he's also very determined to see the next stages of the reform.
But you also mentioned that you went through a lot of threats in this business, in the banking business. Was it worth it today?
Well, that doesn't bother me. I mean, if not we, if we don't, who will do it? If not now, when will it be done? I mean, if you have to pay a sacrifice, so be it. But at some point, some people must stand up to be counted. And for me, that's what it is all about. That's the major thing. I don't give a hoot. All those threats and so on and so forth coming, they mean next to nothing. Our life happened to be in the hand of God. And I think I have also lived long. After all, God, Jesus Christ lived only for 33 years, and I'm past 33. So it's quite a bonus.
I think they're getting nervous now because the jacket is coming on.
Nah, I just want you to see. I want you to see how nice I look.
That's the perfect style for a photographer.
Thank you very
I'm not
much.
sure whether you're a cameraman, a photographer, or a
I'm
TV
both.
person.
I'm a TV person, a radio presenter.
Right.